I know a lot of you have heard people talking about raising your vibration, raising your frequency, and all of this. And a lot of you may think that this is some sort of pseudoscience because not a lot of people will supply you with the actual scientific information. But in fact, this information has been out for a long time. There was a gentleman named Bruce Tainio, and in 1992, he invented a machine called the BT3, which is an extremely sensitive monitor like this, an electromagnetic monitor, a frequency monitor. And Bruce invented this to understand plants a little better, to understand what made plants tick. And because of this, because plants, he needed a very sensitive machine, and so that's what he built. And he studied plants, the frequency of plants, and what the frequency of plants could tell you. Because what he discovered was certain plants in a healthy, optimal state with the right nutrients in the soil have a certain frequency, a higher frequency. But then plants that are not being taken care of, plants that are on their way out, plants that are malnourished, they have a lower frequency. And so this became so interesting to Bruce and one of his colleagues that he made a second machine for his colleague, and they began to measure the human body, different organs in the human body, right, to understand the frequencies and stuff. And Bruce figured out that not only does every single organ in the human body have its own particular frequency, but the whole human body as a whole has a frequency or a vibration, okay, that it should be at if it's an optimal health. But as you get lower down this spectrum of frequency or vibration, you become susceptible to certain things like common colds and viruses. And then if it goes even lower, other diseases like cancer. And if it goes even lower, death, right? So not only did they do this, but they started to measure different types of food and understand the frequencies of this food. And then they went on to do essential oils, and they found out all of this stuff that can help raise the body's energy levels and frequency or vibration. But of course, you won't be able to raise your energy levels or frequencies simply by eating better and stuff. You have to concentrate on your mental health, because no matter how much you try to be healthy, you eat good or whatever, if you're depressed and stressed all the time, it won't matter. It won't have an effect on you. You won't feel better just because you switched your diet. You still need to make a change up here, right? But anyway, Bruce with the BT3, another thing he discovered was that every disease has a corresponding frequency. And so by understanding this, you can use a higher frequency to combat that disease and destroy that disease. And in the 90s, Bruce healed over 100 cancer patients. He had a 100% success rate, okay? It was like 80% of people responded immediately, but the remaining 20% responded within the next few weeks to the treatment and were 100% cured of cancer. And you're like, why didn't we hear about this? I don't know. Big pharmaceutical companies got involved. They wanted Bruce to sell out, but Bruce said no. And a few weeks later, his office was ransacked. All of his notes were gone. The machine was destroyed. You see? And we know that the reason for this is just because big pharmaceutical companies profit off of treatments, not cures, right? So I just wanted to put you on some of this information. Look up this dude, Bruce, okay, and the BT3 frequency monitoring machine that was built back in the 90s. It's very eye-opening information, and a lot of people have since expounded on his research and added to it, right? But anyway, until next time, I hope you continue to free your mind.